right up here with you. More scenes from a parking lot. And it's weird how many reaction videos and stuff now I see filmed in parking lots. I don't know, it's just crazy. It is, I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe it's just, the world. But I'm dying laughing because you got all these channels out there, they blatantly violate copyright law and then try to claim fair use. I'm sorry, but forgive me for sounding a little mean here, but the minute you said go to our Patreon channel for our full reaction, you're asking for money to see the full product that you've borrowed. Therefore, you've tossed free use out the window, or fair use out the window. But that's just me. Okay. But I'm here this morning because, hang on, let's see if I can bring this up without losing my phone. All right, I guess I can't. Somebody put up a Twitter post saying, oh God, no knock on them, but can't we, when RTD comes back in, can we just pretend that the Peter Capaldi and Jodie Whittaker era never happened? And I'm like, no knock on them, but you just want to disavow both their existences. Peter Capaldi and Jodie Whittaker, who have both been amazing ambassadors for this show the whole time they've been there, who went out of their way to make fans feel welcome. You want to toss out Peter Capaldi, who one fan who used to go to the filming locations every day just to see him. One morning it was particularly cold, and he came out and he gave the guy like a cup of coffee and a croissant or something like that. Yeah, you didn't see Matt Smith doing that, did you? You didn't. Matter of fact, he suddenly became an ambassador to the show, and he realized he can milk you out of a couple $100. And that's just my opinion, but based off what I've seen and what I've heard about people who've actually, seen them on filming locations. Of course, they were all incredibly friendly when they came to New York, but that's because they're trying to sell that show at that time. But I'm like, now they want to knock Peter Capaldi out. I'm like, what did he do wrong? Capaldi had some of the most brilliant moments in this show ever. Like, come on, you can't tell me that to this day, when I can still put on that little clip of the Zygon inversion speech and still have a tear in my eye by the time it's done. I still swear Peter Capaldi was robbed on that. He should have gotten a BAFTA for that speech. Plus, he had a lot of great episodes as well. It's like, so we're going to disavow it, but like that, no knocking on them, but, and it's like my dad used to say, everything before the but is bullshit. So I'm like, I just couldn't believe there's no knock on them, but like, and then I put up a thing, I put this speech up, and some guy went on about how, no, we just need to have writers who won't act like they're on methadone and blah, blah, blah. Of course, that comment got deleted. There was a lot of other comments that were far more constructive and told the story without having to use drug indications and slurring insults. And they all stayed up. I'm sorry, but if you can't explain to me without using names, insults, and all that, what your true problem with the last couple series was, then you're already showing me your argument's invalid. You just didn't try. Now, if you get, there's a lot of people who, like this past week's Omega Files. I'm sorry. Got a little something in my throat there. I only gave the finale 6 out of 10 because while I did enjoy most of it, there were too many unnecessary characters. And like I said, for the most part, I've enjoyed Jodie's era, but I can see where they were going with it. But I think they needed to have a bit more time with Flux. I think originally it was supposed to be like, I think they were supposed to get like 2 more episodes if memory serves. Yeah, and then they decided to cut it down to 6 and then use the other ones for specials. Something along that line. And I don't know, it's just really no knock on them, but I'm like, you're not knocking on them, but you want to completely have everybody disavow them. That's like saying, I'm a big fan of the Bond films, but everything made by Timothy Dalton and that other chap can just go. You know, the Remington Steele guy just didn't do it for me. We'll completely disavow all that. And forgive me, I don't know why I'm calling him the Remington Steele guy. I know the guy's name and I keep forgetting it. He's one of my favorite actors. That's what happens when you get older. You start forgetting shit that you know right off the top of your head. But it just amazes the living crap out of me that, you know, this is going on. No knock on them, but I'm like, oh, goodness. Well, I've been having a little fun out here in the parking lot. Wanted to see what everybody's up to. I guess there ain't a whole lot of people on this morning. Normally we have a few more people check in with us. But what did you think of the finale? Yeah, Dr. Falls, thank you. And Twice Upon a Time, yeah. He was just amazing in his own way. So was Jodie. So was every doctor going back to the beginning. And yet everybody's this die-hard, you know, critic now. It's blows my mind. Hang on, I gotta turn that heating down because I am baking myself in my chair here. Okay. Yeah, I did like the finale, but I couldn't give it more than a 6 out of 10 because I'm like, as much as I enjoyed Bell and Vinder, what did they really contribute to the story at the end? Sure, they gave you a tiny bit of prologue here and there. Character that stood out for me the most, of course, was Eustace Jericho. And then they conveniently whacked him at the end. But, you know, a beautiful performance by Kevin McNally. I hope I just didn't butcher his name. Okay, yeah, Series 11, that's what they tried to do. They tried to go back to basics. Three companions, the doctor, and some historical learning. And look what happened. I don't like it. Well, that's what you wanted. It's like everybody kept complaining, you know, that the Cybermen were getting overused, the Daleks were becoming, you know, just jokes. They're getting used too often, and I agree with that. I'm beginning to believe that story that there must be something to the Terry Nation contract, because there were periods in Doctor Who's history where you didn't see the Daleks for years, and now all of a sudden they're become the staple of every season. And I think they need to disappear for a while, and I'm hoping RTD, if there is one thing RTD does do, put the Daleks on the sidelines for a while. I'm talking total disappearance. Or because it's, you know, every year there they are. Now there have been great Dalek episodes in the past few years, but just seems like they're getting overused again. Yep. Yeah, you're right. Whose books? Yeah, everybody's like, it's got to go back to basics. It's got to go back to its root. Okay. Guess how many companions there were in the original era? 3. And I've already named them for you. And then, of course, 5th Doctor era, you had, you know, Tegan, Nyssa, Adric. And then, you know, it's like, I don't even count Chameleon, you know, they're, you know, getting in that little bit further on because you didn't see him. And there's a sad story as to why you didn't see him. If I remember right, the man who created the Chameleon prop used his own machine code for something like that to run the prop, and apparently he passed away. So there wasn't really much they could do with the prop afterward or something like that. I can't remember. I have to go back and look at that again. But yeah, I don't mind seeing them, especially when, you know, I am looking forward to seeing them this year though, because they've added that nifty little Gatling turret. And it's like, I've always been wondering when somebody's going to finally just completely update them. You know, like we had the special weapons Dalek. Oh yeah, Adric's death. That one's always going to be touching. You know, it was kind of sad. The poor guy, you know, poor kid thinks he's going out saving the Earth when, you know, in a way he did, but just not in the way he intended. Well, folks, it's about that time for me to run in. And like I said, I just wanted to hop in with that because I'm like, no knock on Capaldi and Whitaker, but let's pretend they didn't exist. Wow. That's an incredible way not to knock on people. Okay, well, I'm going to get going before I depress myself, all right? So take care, everyone. Enjoy your morning. I'll see you later on. And stay safe out there, everybody.